I don't believe you. So I'm waiting a minute before we actually start.
What's up, YouTube?
No. Porn.
They got that. That was live, by the way.
Yeah, that was live. It's okay. But we're not live actually. I think YouTube's being weird lately, so I have like refresh. Oh, we are live. Cool.
Yeah, we're live.
That's a stupid first slide, Anthony. We're not talking about the boomer things. All right.
You can't talk about Sony if
Welcome.
you don't talk about Walkmans.
We're not talking about the boomer Walkmans. They're boring. No, like who have? Okay, I have like a Discman when I was younger, but like honestly, that's like really forgettable. I probably still have it. All right, welcome to episode 22 of AD Podcast. I have my usual co-host with me as always. Today we're talking about the best company in the world, not just in audio, in general. Sony, of course. I think this is probably the more, because like Sony's such a big company and we're just focusing on like the hi-fi audio, so the hi-fi audio department. And I know they do go like all the way back into like 30 years. Like what did they just recently celebrate? Like their 40-year anniversary, right? Or like 60 or some
40th
ridiculous
year.
thing.
40th year.
Yeah,
of the
for the
Walkman.
Walkman. Yeah, the 40 years of Walkman. We're not gonna go through the 40 years of Walkman. I know Anthony's just as old as the Walkman.
Look.
Anthony and Ken's are just as old as the Walkman. But we're not gonna go back that far. I think before we start, what's your first Sony audio product? I think we'll go by the oldest. Like Ken, you can go first.
The oldest? Come on.
The oldest. Well, you and Anthony, I guess.
No, Ann
What's
is
your
older.
oldest? Well, whatever.
Fine, call me out.
Anthony,
on
you
that.
go first. Yeah, call him out on that. Oh man.
Let's see. My first, I had a Sony cassette player Walkman. I don't remember which one. And then I also had this, I think this blue Discman that's on the picture here. Or no, I had this black one actually. And then I also had a mini disc player that's purple. This one, I think. Or maybe this one. I forget which one. And then now,
Okay, oh shit.
yeah. And now I have a, what do you call it? A 507.
Yeah, mid-5. Okay.
Yep.
Ken? Just the first. Just the first.
I think should be some hand-me-down from my auntie, some Walkman with that overhead headband earbuds that is vertical mounted. Yeah.
Vertical mounted.
Yeah. I don't know how else to explain it. That's
Okay.
It's called
yeah,
it's called a
okay,
headphone. It's called a
Okay,
headphone.
let's yeah, no, like that's too boomer. I don't think anybody remembers any of those. My first was a Sony Discman, and that was expensive.
Did you have a circular one or a square one?
I have the circle one like it's like one of the new ones because I'm not
okay.
a boomer. Like I think it's one of their last generation Discman
Yeah.
that they before they move on to the DAPs.
Did it play MP3s?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember. It just it might have, but like it was like expensive like back in the day, like in China, especially like oh man. I remember my mom bought it for me. I don't know why. It was like for like a birthday or something. It's a celebration, whatever. But it was really expensive, especially in China, because that was like all the rage, like the Sony Discman, in China. But that was like my first, and my last is I have a current gen. Well, not the current gen anymore. Well, I still have the current gen. Like I had the current gen WM1A. Corn, what's your first Sony?
My first Sony product was a Sony washing machine.
Oh, shit,
Afterwards,
nice.
it was the extra bass earphones, the really bassy and shitty
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. They
Yeah,
have
after
that X-Bass line, like
yeah,
yeah, extra.
yeah,
Without
yeah. I got it from an electronics store, for I think $30 which is about $20. So this was my first Sony, but that was like around, I don't know, 6 years ago or so.
6 years ago.
After that I bought
when it was
the
12.
Shure SC215. Ever since then, I haven't bought a Sony yet.
Oh man, wow.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
we need
but-
to change that.
Yeah, but the washing machine still works great, so
You still have the washing machine? That's
That one
great.
gives you
Yeah,
the best
lovely.
the best Sundays.
No, I changed it.
Oh, you changed it?
Yeah.
You don't have a Sony washing machine anymore?
Yeah, I think we have a Samsung one right now.
Oh
Wow,
yeah,
what a fucking traitor.
I have a Samsung
I love
too.
Harman, man.
Well, if we have to add, I use Sony floppy disk drives and Sony Trinitron screens and Sony CD-ROM drive.
I don't think people know what a floppy disk is. Ken, you are too ancient. No, you do
I had
not know
Sony
what
floppy
we're-
disk too, actually, like the 5.5 ones.
All right, can we get on with the podcast, please?
I use Sony diskettes too.
Oh shit! Hey! You know when I say can we get on with the podcast? We don't talk about floppy disk anymore, okay?
Oh, I do want to
nothing to
add.
do with
I
audio.
do want to add.
No,
in the
no,
middle
you're
there.
not- you're
No,
not
this
adding
is
anything.
still audio related. So Sony was
Okay,
also
fine.
one of the first companies, I think, to introduce Bluetooth. Like at least in cell phones, like the Sony
That is
Ericsson
not
phone.
audio related. No, that
No,
is not.
and then
audio
the
related. No,
Bluetooth,
really-
the Bluetooth adapters that I think Ken and I both had came with the MH755.
No, that's not audio related. No, it has nothing to do with audio. That's like lo-fi shit, man. We don't
They
talk
were
about
the
shit.
first to pioneer that. You know, like everything else was earbud at the time. There was hardly any in-ears, so that was a major turning point at the time.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about
this-
the Sony record
this
label.
little
I
thing right
really
here.
love
See these
Sawano.
two
He's
things?
a great producer. I think it's no, we're not. No, this is oh my god, this is the worst. This is the worst podcast ever. Why am I doing this? Should have played Dungeons and Dragons with the honker. But I think we're not gonna go all the way back because I don't think any of us is old enough for that, unfortunately. So I think a good point to start is probably not the Bluetooth. That's lo-fi. I think the good start is probably like when they first launch the EX1000, because that's like probably if you like because before that they kind of made like a lot of earbuds, but their Sony were usually known for the headphones, which this is not the Kickphone show. Shout out to Resolve. We're not them. So if you're gonna listen to us talk about headphones, you can go watch the Canadian Boomer talk about that. But the first IEM that the first really well known one is probably the EX1000. But before that, they were really known for headphones like with their Qualia like K like 8000 or whatever, and their R10s or whatever, which Hi-Fi Man is remaking, I guess. But yeah, EX1000. That was like I had an EX1000. When it first came out, it was like $1,000, which was the big buck IEM. That was like one of the most expensive IEM on the market at the time.
And expensive? I didn't know it's.
Yeah, it was
grand.
$1,000, or it's like $800, $1,000. It was massively expensive. Like people were complaining about it.
I think it was like 700. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But like, I don't think like there's still nothing. There's still really not too many IEM that's like it. Because Ken, you have the one step down, the EX800, right? So the coin.
he had it. I still have it.
Yeah. Oh, he had it. You still have it. Did you guys like the 800? Ken?
Yeah,
You
because
still like it?
I was starting out and then I got into this hobby a couple of years back, and I find that hey, the EX1000 is good, but you know it's not great for a beginner like me. I was still learning how to take travel well, and of course I didn't know how to fit properly at that time. So I was like, hey, you know, the 800 was a lot more forgiving and it's a great start. So I bought it, and 3 months later, like, hey, I wanted to buy the EX1000. Damn, is discontinued. So like, okay.
Oh, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, but it was fine. I mean, like I do understand the limitations and it's a scaled down version. It's like a small brother, right? But
Yeah.
they have the same fundamental stuff. Yeah.
It's funny because they're still making the EX800 today, but they discontinued the EX1000, which is kind of strange.
Because EX800 was a pro lineup, right? So basically, I get the white box with like 3 tips and whatever the cable. That's it. Like it's like next to nothing kind of packaging.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a white box. Plastic, some transparent plastic tray, the earphones, the default cable, the medium tips were on the earphones, and you'll see the small and the large ear tips. That's it, But if you
Oh
buy the
wow,
EX,
I didn't think that. Yeah.
yeah, with the EX1000, you will get like a nice carrying case. I mean, there's a small
I
little
still
one.
remember. Yeah, the EX1000 was like some legit packaging. Like it had like it looks a lot like the Z1R packaging. Actually, they have like that little
For its
that
time.
the molded case. Well, obviously the Z1R packaging is a lot better now, like compared to that.
Yeah,
But like
for its time.
yeah. For
They
its
had
time,
like
it was like some. Yeah, also like 14 sets of tips, which was ridiculous. Like it has like well not 14, but like 12 or 13, like some ridiculous amount of tips.
all the in between sizes. So they have SS,
Yeah.
S, then SM, MML, L, LL,
Yeah.
and then the IC tips, and then all the in between sizes, and like
Yeah.
like a whole
It's
bunch.
kind of and then they have the hybrid too with the foam in the middle on the. Oh yeah, so I didn't know.
And extra cable, the short cable and the long cable.
Oh yeah, there you go. That was like the back all the rage back in the day. Yeah, that was like a lot of.
The short cable is if you're wearing it on stage with your Wi-Fi receiver or whatnot,
Oh really? Well, I didn't know that.
Because
Oh,
it's like 60 cm. It's like just nice for you to be wearing on the back, and it goes out to the receiver clip to your belt or whatever.
Corn, you sold your 800. Did you sell like your? Why did you sell that? That was
Yeah.
I mean,
I sold it primarily because of the lack of isolation, really.
oh,
Yeah. I mean, on the train, it's just you just hear the train noise and everything. It had a kind of a weird spot in my collection. At that time. During that time, I had the MH334 as well as the PAS SH3. So, I mean, having two CIMs, you get so much isolation, but even back at like my dormitory, I still liked using the SH3 even though I don't need the isolation or anything. So the EX800 had to go. Um, I don't know, just because the isolation wasn't. It was like a problem factor, I guess. Um, as well as in terms of sound quality, um, I started to learn about more sound signatures, started to carve my own preference, and the EX800 wasn't cutting after a while. But I have to say though, the 800 does take EQ very, very well. So in terms of EQing it to your target curve, maybe up towards 8000 hertz, it takes it super well. So there's no
that's
issue for that.
yeah, that's funny because you're saying that it has no isolation. Because remember when we met in Japan, you had the 800 and I had the EX1000, and I was actually wearing my EX1000 on the train because I need to hear the announcer announcing the station.
But
And
yeah,
have my music on.
back at the point where the 800 didn't have much like accessories. It's true, but there's also an international version, the MDR7550. It does come with a more premium packaging, although
Oh,
not
it
as grand
does.
as say the Z1R, but in terms of accessories, the 7550 was made for a more consumer audience, whereas the 800 ST was more for the I mean, it's marketed as a stage monitor, so I have no idea why, but
Yeah.
No
yeah,
idea
they
why.
really cut down the cost on. If I'm not wrong, the 7550 is like 50% higher price or something,
Yeah,
which is
it comes with
really
that,
really weird. Yeah, you're paying like
with
just
all
for
the
the
extra
packaging and
tips,
everything.
and whatever, and yeah, it's a whole velvet case or whatever. I don't know yet.
How
Yeah.
much was the 800 when it at release? Do you
Uh,
remember?
did they reduce the price over time? I'm not sure.
It was
Um,
like $500, right? Because I
yes,
remember the
Yeah,
EX1000 was like it was half the price of the EX1000, right?
yeah. Yes, what
well,
was
like
$1,000, I
two
think.
third, two third if it's the 7550. I think it's half if it's the EX800 ST, something along that line.
Yeah, but it's like for half the price. I think it's a lot more palatable at that time. Like $500 is still a lot of money. But now it's like what, like $180 used if you find it used. I don't think there's still that many around anymore. And the EX1000 is like $300, which is really nice for for the treble rate. getting up back to the EX1000, it was kind of like I never got it like when it was released. I never was around the hobby when it was released. I had the chance of getting it and I got it just to see what the hype was about. It was not good. I would say that. I can
Do
see
you
why it was
remem-
good.
Do you
Yes.
remember the time where Clinical rated the EX1000S and then people were like, "Oh my god, these are the best things ever," and then they
I
started
think
getting
that's why
chewed
I
up in the
got it
market.
too. I think
Yeah.
that's why I got it too. I remember what is a clinical simp. I still am. I love you, baby, clinical. But yeah, not as much because EX1000 not. No, I think it's good, but like I knew I was disappointed when I got it, but I kind of like yeah, but you know it's 8 years old. What do you expect, man?
And then you have the people that also remove the filters of the EX1000.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
cannot. Yeah,
We
I
have to
don't
talk
think.
about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So the EX1000 is already treble rapey, and it has like what 2 peaks, right? It has like a normal, kind of a normal DF peak, kind of a normal.
Mainly a 5.5K pick.
Yeah, that was a no-no if you have a isn't the 5.5 the most common sensitivity if you have a treble sensitivity too? I think so.
I guess it depends on every individual, but all of DDs have that 5.5K pick.
Well, it is because I feel like it's where the T and the S sound is when female singers sing, like you really hear that sibilant in your, oh my god, it's just not, yeah, I don't know how people like handle that. I'm fine with it, but like a lot of people have like a lot of complaint to that treble peak. I don't know. Anthony, have you heard the EX1000? Like, probably not that much.
I have, only briefly. I
Did you like
tried
it?
it out when
Did you like
someone let me try it out at a meet. No, I didn't like it. It was too bright. It was way too bright.
It is really bright.
So I don't understand. Like, I'm gonna post a graph here of the filterless mod
Oh my god, that's
thing. I don't understand why filterless mod is a thing, but okay.
because people like ear rapes. That is their problem. But yeah. But like a lot of people love the EX1000 because like it has like high resolution and like and has good soundstage. I tend to not like agree with any of those. Just not that I try any IEMs that's like 8 years old, but like I was comparing to IEMs that's available at the time. I feel like a lot of the like the resolution that you're getting is from like it's pretty artificial from like the insane treble boost on the IEM and the staging that you're getting from the IEMs are from the inherent open back design, which somewhat defeats the purpose of an IEM, if you ask me. But you know, what did I know, right? I don't know, like and who this Ken probably knows who's the guy that designed the EX1000. Do you remember his name?
Matsuo-san?
Yeah. Funny enough, so now that there's that. Do you remember there's that guy that on Clinical server that was talking that he was asking about an upgrade to the EX1000, right?
What about that?
Do you know there is an upgrade to the EX1000? Well, not technically. That's what I was telling you guys to tell him that. He went on to make the Sony Just Ear, which is probably their best IEM.
He's hating the Just division now.
Oh, is he gone? Did you ban him?
No. As in like Matsuo-san is hating the Just division.
Oh, is he? Why? Oh, well, he's heading at you mean? Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's the head of the.
Because he's done with the EX1000. Because he peaked. He peaked with the EX1000. Now he has to make a hybrid. Well, no, isn't that what he said? He's like, oh, I have peaked in a single DD, and there's no other single DD as good as the EX1000, so I have to make a hybrid. So he pretty much made a hybrid.
Yeah,
That's
pretty much. Yeah. He
yeah.
mentioned that he reached the limitations and he couldn't do anything at that time to improve
Right.
it even further.
Right. But obviously, I feel like right now there's still not that many good single DD IEMs aside from the FW10K, best single DD ever. But that's not that show. But yeah, but like I think yeah at the time, I think even like right now you don't have too many good single DDs in the market. So like EX1000 really still stands out in the market today. Still really bad. Like right now it's I don't know $300. I don't know. Would you guys still consider like would you still recommend people the EX1000 if they want to spend like $300-ish?
If it's just sound quality, I don't see why not. But when it comes to actual practical usage, like this thing picks up wind noise crazy, man. Like if you just walk in the streets and then the wind blows at you, you can't hear your music anymore.
All you hear is wind.
I don't know. I don't know about you guys. You guys are definitely going outside a little bit too much, but people are usually staying inside. Like, I think in an office environment, it probably works.
Yeah, it's
Like,
probably
like
fine.
Anthony would probably love it if it doesn't sound as rapey as it does.
Yeah,
So, Anthony, try.
I
Yeah.
like having not I don't like having full isolation when I listen to music
Yeah,
because I want to
yeah.
be able to hear people.
So actually, you should try the EX800. That's less rapey.
Yeah, I don't think I've
trouble.
tried that one yet, but I guess maybe I
Yeah,
should
you
just
should.
buy
It's only like $120. Yeah, it's super. Just buy.
I'm just gonna buy it.
Yeah, yeah, just buy it. Just find a used one and buy it. It's super cheap, and then let's try.
I can always
And
sell it.
You know what? Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, if like the thing is that I always discourage people from blind buying things, but honestly, the EX1000 and the EX800, they're so easy to sell and resell. Like you usually don't lose too much money from just trying those things. And I think some people should try one of them. Like I think any like IEM person into IEM should get a chance to try one of those IEMs because it's I think it's definitely a genre defining IEM back in the day 8 years ago. And you can see how the best of the best 8 years ago stack up against, whatever the fuck we have today. Moving on from that. Did the XBA lineup came out first, or the Walkman line came out first after the EX1000? I don't even remember.
I think it was the XBA.
Okay, well,
XBA came out in 2014 or 15. I think.
Okay, yeah, and then the Walkman came out 2016, right? Okay, the XP lineup. Oof, that's a level of hot garbage.
Some people love the X3, man.
Oh my god.
Or the
I don't
N3,
know
sorry,
why.
the N3, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like what 3 IEM, the XBA A1, right?
Yeah, I think A1, and then was it
A1,
H1?
XBA N3, and the XBA Z5,
Oh,
right?
There was a H3 as well.
And there's the H3 as well.
Yeah, I think so.
E3 and H3, N3 very late.
So there's 4.
And N3 is like the last. The earlier one
Yeah.
was A3 and H3.
There's some other
Yeah.
there's some other cheap ones too, like
Well, we don't care about the cheap ones, just
Yeah.
the hybrids. No. Like I'm just they're the hi-fi line, whatever the fuck they want to call it. I think. Go ahead, Ken. What would you say?
And N3 was the last for 1+1. The earlier one before that was A3 and H3.
The H3 and H3 they weren't hybrids.
I remember they were. Did I remember wrongly?
Yeah, I think the entire like hi-fi XBA lineup was their like intro to hybrid thing. Like that was really experimental. I don't. I think that's the best word I can put it there. Experimental, gone really badly.
Yeah, from googling, all of them look like hybrids. The H3,
Yeah.
A3, and N3.
They're all like what 2+1, right?
Something like that. Yeah, or 1+1.
Or yeah, 2+1, 1+1, or 3+1, something like some small
Yeah.
amount of BA plus
Yeah.
1 DD.
And all of them, I think, wait, no, only the entry the entry front fires, whereas the others are all side firing.
Okay. And the Z5 was like what $800? It was expensive, I remember too. That was and the Z5 looks like the EX1000. Funny enough.
Yeah, you could really see like the trickle down of technology. Not trickle down,
Yeah.
rather an improvement over time.
Well, it wasn't really an improvement, first of all. It was completely different sound signature, by the way, the Z5, and the entire XPA lineup sounds, funny enough, a less refined version of the Z1R, with the sound signature in turns, I think. I heard the N3, I heard the Z5, I don't think I've heard the other two, so I can't really say.
Yeah, I think they did mention that from the Z1R they got some inspiration from the EX1000 driver, if I'm not wrong.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I mean, you could see the progression in terms of their design wise, them using and upgrading current technology to produce the Z1R that is today.
Well, it's huge, right? The Z5
The
was
Z5 is about the same size as my EX1000, I think.
Yeah, more or
I
less
think
the
it's
same.
16 mm.
Yeah.
I think it's huge. Yeah.
How does side firing dynamic driver work?
Well, I mean,
You just
instead
pipe
of
the
having
sound
a tube
90
or,
degrees.
or
You have to
chamber,
bend.
Yeah,
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 you
it's just
side fire
side
to the side and then it travels forward to the front, like the nozzle of the dynamic driver. So it's kind of like a BA, where a BA fires on top and then it travels down to the middle and then it fires out.
Yeah, but
So
because of
by
that, there's a lot of acoustic chamber, like proper planning or acoustic chamber needed.
side firing DDs tend to perform a little bit worse
Yeah.
than front firing DDs. So
You get a lot more
Sony had to
distortion.
design around that.
But like, isn't the EX1000 also like somewhat of a sci-firing DD as well?
Yeah, it is a complete side firing, but
Yeah.
Sony did
It's like
design it around that. So
Yeah.
I guess they understood how to play its strengths and eliminate its like weaknesses.
Well, obviously, sci-firing isn't the best because they stopped using it.
Well, I mean, you could have a 16mm front firing, but you need some kind of a totally different design and a lot more space to execute something like that.
Yeah. Because you're really restricted on the diameter of the. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
sci-firing, you can fit a lot bigger DD on the IEM versus a front firing, obviously, because geometry. But yeah, like I don't know, like let's talk about the N3 because if anybody haven't heard the secret episode, we kind of touched up on the N3, like long time, like throwback, like oh wow, that was a long throwback. So in our IEM recommendation episode, like we did like in the very beginning, we also did an episode, like a secret episode, like the after show. We talked about the N3, we talked about the two CFA IEMs. But like yeah, if like that's the throwback. I don't like the N3, man. A lot of people love it. It's like the budget hybrid, you know. I think it's super bloaty, and it's just like there's no redeeming quality on the N3 aside from the price. But when you have that thing, then I guess you might as well get something else. If the only thing good is cheap, you might as well just get something else, I think. I don't know.
It's marketed towards the kind of prosumer, where they want. I mean, based on its name, the XPA meaning extra bass, so that
Wait, really?
consumers will
XPA
want
is
more. Yeah, that's what it means, extra bass.
Extra bass,
Oh.
maybe.
Yeah, so well, I mean, it does live up to its name. Yes, extra bass for like probably like commute or something.
Okay.
I was guessing it also could be X for like hybrid and like BA.
No, it means something else. I'm pretty sure the XPA means something else, like cross. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
I thought X was hybrid or something, and then
Because
BA.
don't they always have that extra base marketing, that XTA base, like with the marketing line? Here in AD, we don't do our research before the podcast because that's too hard. But no.
The entry is definitely targeted at a very consumer pleasing kind of sound signature.
Yeah, they are. I think the entire the majority of the XPA lineup, let's just say, aside from the Z5, that was expensive. But yeah, definitely. But back to the N3, awful IEM. Whew. Right, Anthony, you hate the N3. You can hang out on N3 once again.
I don't know if I hate it, but I don't like it. How about that? I think it's too muddy and bassy and a little incoherent. And
But
Yeah.
but since you just recently converted a bass head, should you retry the N3 and try that again?
I guess I should. But
I think you should because you found your
You're
new
just-
love for bass.
you're just gonna
Because,
make me spend a lot of money on Sony.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're gonna spending a lot of money because you just got something for free. You dirty show. But you know, I feel like you just had an extra 1.5 grand laying around. You know, since you got something for free from a friend your friend
And you can buy the XBA N3 BP. You know, it comes with a Pentacon 4.4 plug. You know,
Oh,
for
does
your
it
night.
really?
Ooh,
Yeah. That's
Wow.
just for the
Wait,
cable.
Isn't that all discontinued?
No, N3 is not. Well, I
Oh,
thought it
what?
was. N3
wow.
discontinued already.
N3 is still
It's still
available.
available, right?
Yeah.
It probably
Yeah.
sells well.
It probably does because you know people think big bass and they love it.
Yeah,
Just like
you can get it. I can get it on Sunday through Amazon.com.
wow, sponsored by Amazon, Jeff Bezos.
That's
Yeah,
tomorrow.
remember to get a BP for your fabulous Sony Walkman. You know,
That's right. That's right.
the AP is the one with the mic. Oh yeah, but yeah, they really it's really nice. It's like for the price, the AP, which is the one with the mic, single-ended, it's just for folks who use their phones and well, they can use it to make calls and stuff. You know.
Yeah, for the plebs, for the basic plebs. Wait, the
Yeah,
AP?
it is targeted at consumer. That was the target. So,
Yeah, it was like what, $300? That's still expensive for consumers. I you know, but you know, moving on to the Z5 since Anthony doesn't want to hate on the N3 anymore, unless Corn want to say something about the N3 of how bad it is.
I think you guys are just hitting on it. Come on.
I mean,
Yeah, I
how about
like
this? Like right
What a
now,
hater.
But like right now, there's so many better hybrids out there, right? I feel like I find there isn't really that many. Like okay,
Yeah.
so here's the rule of thumb, right? Mid-fi, tri-fi hybrid.
well, which is why we removed it from the previous
Right. It wasn't on our recommendation list.
Yeah, because of age, you know. But like for its time, I think it's great.
Well, I mean, you know what, Ken? For your time, you were great too. Like 10 years ago, you were a young man, and then now you're just some old boomer. Doesn't change reality now, does it?
Ooh.
Feels bad, man.
No, it
Yeah.
does. But like no, I think like in terms of technology, you can always reminiscent about things being old, but like the fact of the matter now is that it doesn't stack up against the market now. So it's I personally think the N3 had even less relevancy than the EX1000 for
because
actually.
Totally different market, right? So
Well, yeah, but now they cost the same. So if you have no preference in tonality, I think people would much willing to gravitate towards the EX1000 than the N3.
definitely, if you're talking about technicalities, then the EX has better technicalities.
Yeah, because like the XPA lineup is just like a fucking like mashed up of awfulness in terms of like it's like, first of all, it's a very early day of hybrids, so it's pretty incoherent. It's really warm. The DD's like pretty much unhinged. Like it doesn't sound nice. I feel like they're still trying to figure out how to tune things, and then like it's just like just like ooh, like just like right there in front of you, like just bad. Like it's really bad. I'm sure like back in the day it's good, but like now it's like no. Okay, no more XBA talk because that's awful.
It feels like an intended tuning to me. I mean,
Well, it is intended tuning, but the awful execution. How about that?
the H3 and the A3, which well, I guess a lot of people and the H3. But I do think that the N3 being a OnePlus actually has quite a fair bit of treble extension.
Well, I mean it's hybrid, but like I think the treble extension wasn't a problem. All right, Sony Walkman, best apps ever. I think. What
Ooh, DAPs.
like do you guys? Yeah, best like cause they always had DAPs before, right? Because that wasn't their first music digital like MP3 player. That's what people would call it like back in the day. So like they always had like MP3 players before,
Yeah.
but I feel like when they revived the Walkman line, so like it's like the most iconic Walkman now, because I remember when when I still have my WM1A and I have that silly pouch on me. And when I tell people I have a Walkman, they were like, "Oh, I had one of those when I was a kid." I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh," I was like, "But I have the new one." I was like, "What new one?" Like, so it plays like CDs. I'm like, "No." I showed them. It's like, "Whoa, it has a touchscreen and everything." I'm like, "Yeah, it's the new Walkman." It's kind of like the most iconic when they did the refresh on the WM1A and WM1Z, which is like their hi-fi line. The ZX lineup, let's just skip that entirely.
No.
Just altogether, like just like awful lineup. No, I think I think that's like the most iconic line. Like, just if you're an audiophile, people say, "Oh, you have a Walkman." Yeah, that's a WM1A, not the Z, because that's a brick. Oh, I'm not. Am I the only one with a Walkman here? Well, just no. We don't talk the WM line. Sorry. I think I am.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You're
I
outdated.
Do you still
think,
have it?
I used to have it. I don't have it anymore.
You're outdated,
I
Lang.
still miss it from time to time. Actually, that was like one of my most actually what I believe is how a DAP should be. A very stripped down version of a DAP that has about 20 hours of battery life, and the Bluetooth was janky. There's no like it doesn't run Android. It runs like Sony proprietary OS. It was smooth OS.
Does that use correct USB cable?
It does not use USB cable. It has its own proprietary cable, which I lost. In Japan after I left Japan, I had to buy a new one, which costed a lot of money. Well, that doesn't cost a lot, but it was a pain in the ass to find, like, in China. It was like my first. Well, wasn't my first app, but like one of my first old app that like it really just like it's focused. It knows what it wants to do. It just wants to have. It's very friendly. It's very portable. Well, not very portable. Depends on how you look at it. It has a lot of battery life, so you don't have to charge it like ever.
Did it only get 20 hours? Is that what you said?
Oh, gee, that's like, dude.
Or
Which
does that
other
mean?
app today get 20 hours?
I thought it got like 30 or 40.
No. It was like 25
Oh, okay.
hours of batteries. It wasn't crazy, but it was like crazy amount of like. I had like 2,000 hours on the DAP, and it still gave me like 18 hours of battery, which is like which other DAP? Think to yourself, which other DAP is like
I get
does
about
that? So
I get about 18 on my Walkman
but
now. But that's like
that's
running it super
don't have a
efficiently. Like that's like really well controlled battery usage.
Yeah. But you don't really have a Walkman. You have a ZX line. That's not a Walkman. Do you know what WM1A stands for? It's Walkman. The WM stands for Walkman. Okay? You have the ZX line, which stands for extra.
I think
sucks
it
or
means
something.
network Walkman, NW, which means
Oh,
it's
it's
connect,
NW,
which means it's
WM1A,
connected
right.
to something.
It does not connect to anything, by the way.
It's got Wi-Fi.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's an Android player.
No. My Walkman, not yours.
Oh,
ZX thing.
yeah.
That's not a Walkman. That's just some random thing. But no, they released in 2016. They did their iconic refresh every 8 years, because the previous one was like what 2014. I'm not even forever, like 2013. It was like 5 years ago. But that was like garbage.
That was an Android one.
Yeah, that's why it's
ZX one.
disgusting, right? Yeah, no, bad, really bad. But I think that's when they first popularized the 4.4 Pentagon connectors, because that's when they started really. That was like the first app, like, because Sony trendsetter.
Did the
with their
ZX one have
4.4
4.4, or was that the ZX2
I don't think so.
that incorporated it? I think might have been the ZX2 that added it.
Really? But like I think the WM line was the first like one to popularize the 4.4 output, and all the Tri-Fis on board.
Sure, yeah. The Android
Yeah,
Walkmans were pretty terrible.
The
Yeah.
older Sony Android players were using, I think, dual 3.5 mono.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah,
they had
I
that too.
remember that.
Yeah.
Dual mono.
Yeah.
That was some fun times. Yeah.
Apparently the current ones still have that feature in the 3.5. Dual mono.
They have an amp. They have the amp that has dual mono. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Oh yes, the test.
I remember that. The XHP or something like that, and it's some weird destination number. And they do they have the dual mono on the TAZH1ES? I think they do.
Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
they have that as well. They
That
kept
thing
that
has
as the
everything.
funny thing. That thing does have everything. I think we're gonna get to that with their desktop thing. But no, the WM line is actually one of the most, like, at least to me, like, that's when I really started getting into the audio, like the most iconic DAP. And even I think even for today, the sound signature of it, while it probably doesn't sound as good as the current DAP, but it still really holds up. And really, the usability of the WM line is really what puts it over. Like, if you just want to strip down DAP, that sounds like relatively neutral-ish. It's not actually very neutral. Then I think people should get the WM1A. I think that's an awesome DAP even for today.
Do you like it?
If you want, go ahead. What?
Oh, I was gonna say, do you like it better than your Con Cube?
No, I do not. That's like, I had a mouth for a long time and decided to sell it for a reason. I think it does not sound better than my Con Cube.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
my cucked Con Cube.
I like it. I mean, your Cube.
Oh, I like it too. That's why I have it still. But it's not that kind of show today. We're not talking about AK. But funny enough that the new Cube has the 4.4. I think AK finally budged under the pressure of the Sony. They actually put a 4.4 millimeter jack on their most recent DAP, which was like the most hilarious thing, and that got a laugh out of me. But with the WM1A line, it was like the neutral sound signature DAP, and then, like, what would you like, corn? What would you describe the WM1Z? I feel like it sounds like a little. It sounds really like warmish.
To me, if you ask me, I
It's
would
like
say
V-shaped warmish.
slightly warm.
Yeah.
But it does have air up top. And to me, the WM series, the 1A and 1Z, they do have a bit of a accentuation up top, in the upper treble. So
Yeah.
to me, yeah, it could sound a little unnatural for some people, but it is a selling point of these Sony players.
Yeah, they do have that like a boost up top, but it's mostly neutral, and the WM1Z is a little bit warmer than the WM1A, and honestly, I don't think 1Z for twice as much sounded better than the WM1A, which is yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. It's what if it's not the WM1A that has more treble extension. It's everything else that has to go off.
Maybe. Ken, your internet's being shitty again, or your mic. I don't know which one's which. You're gonna fix it. But I don't know. I don't know what I want to say. I do know what I want to say. I want to say that actually the W1A is actually the true Sony Walkman lineup, because that's the sound signature they use for most of their portable audio players and their desktop setup. So, and the WM1Z, I think it was just like a one-off copper. That thing weighs just as much as my Cube, by the way, which is a little bit ridiculous because the entire chassis on the WM1Z is copper.
I've held it. It was like, wow, this is way heavier than I thought it was gonna be.
And you know what? At that point, because like all of the things because Sony is such a big company, all of their internal designs are done by themselves on the Walkman. So like the chips they use, they design themselves. The milling on the chassis they did themselves, so they can do like some crazy thing. And then like WM1Z have some like weird Kimber cable connectors, if you're into that kind of meme. But yeah, it was like more. It doesn't have too much like off the shelf parts on those DAPs. I think that's why that's what makes them like so nice even today, because it's very focused. It doesn't have like too many features. It's just a music player that doesn't really have too much like connectivity into the DAP. You just plays local files, which is lovely.
Hey,
that's what I think a DAP should be even today.
I have some serious questions for you related to the WM1A.
Yes.
What was your favorite firmware, and what SD card did you use with your WM1A? Because I don't know if I can trust your opinion.
My opinion? Do you know what know what SD card I had?
Yeah, what
I
SD
had on my
card?
W1?
Yeah.
I had the Sony high-res SD
The
card.
audiophile series.
Yeah, I shit you not. I shit you not.
Those are like
Uh,
I think those are like
those are like
350 on
80
eBay.
bucks.
They're 350 on eBay
Oh.
right now because they're out of.
Personally, I find the SanDisk ones to be flatter in sound. The Sony SD cards are a bit colored in sound. A bit slight V shape. I don't know.
That's because like I want the intended, like you know you have an in-house DAP, so like I think I want to use their own SD card design for their DAPs to be played. So like I want the intended sound from the Sony creator. Like if you're mixing and matching all these companies, it really like watered down the purity of the Sony hi-fi experience. So I just wanted the intended sound from that's what I want. So some people like mixing and matching. I don't fault them, but I'm more of a purist when it. Okay, so that joke went a little bit too long.
No, it's not long enough. We gotta keep going.
Not long. No. Okay, so that's a joke break. We're not being serious. That they sound the same. Please do not think that fucking dicking with the firmware will make it. I tried it before. It was like just right before I sold it. Like they say, oh, if you and people like I updated the firmware. People say, oh, it sounded different when you updated the firmware. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. That was like the biggest load of bullshit. I remember when I updated from like 3.01 to 3.02, it fixed some of the Bluetooth stuff, and people was like, "Oh, it sounded different now." And then you know what the Sony said? It's like you have to re-burn in the firmware. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's when I was like, tilting my head at Sony. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, no, it doesn't make difference. It was just. But I was going to say, I think the Sony really found their signature sound when in the WM1A, because they released the TAZH1ES, which is pretty much the desktop version of the WM1A. And later on they released the Z1. Did the Z1 came out a little bit after the WM1A? I think it did. It did, right? After the
Like a 2-year gap.
DMPC
Yeah, 2-year
one.
gap.
Yeah, I think that came
the
out.
DMPC one.
That came out what, 2 years ago, or something like that.
Yeah, it's a chunker. So I guess we're getting into the Z1 talk. Probably still the best sounding portable audio player.
Portable.
Yeah, portable.
The 220 Max sounds better.
Do you really think the 220 Max sounds better?
Yeah, definitely. Like, no
Wow,
brainer.
okay.
Yeah,
you're
it's that
fired.
good.
I need to try the 220 Max then. I don't know. Probably doesn't sound that great. I think at the time when well, not even at the time, the MP1 is like a brick. And which is funny because they didn't use their own chip. They used a AKM chip on the Z1, right? Which was like the funny thing. I thought they would have used the their own chip again, but unfortunately not. But it was the brick of a DAP. It's pretty much the more scaled up version of a WM1A again. That's the DMP-Z1, because it sounds pretty similar. It sounds pretty much the same. I think if you when I first tried it in China on their launch event, I plugged it out of my WM1A and I plugged my earphones into the Z1. I was like, oh, it sounded just like my WM1A, except better, I guess. That's my first impression of it. I don't know what you guys have. Any awesome Z1 stories?
Which is funny, right? Because like you talk about the AKM chip and things. So like I think they get a lot of flack for using like off the shelf components and amplifier or some EPA chip or something, and like there's so much flame going on, man.
On the Z1?
Yeah. They're using very like standard chips out there, even for the amplifiers.
Well, I think that's because like they it's more like a desktop replacement. So like I don't think they're making too many desktop chips. I guess they kind of did with the TAZH1ES.
Yeah, and high output impedance.
Well, that was the Sony special on their.
But interestingly, I didn't find Z1R on Z1 that fantastic. But I did try other stuff on a Z1 and I find it fantastic. So it was a mixed bag for me.
I just like how giant it is. I really do love it. It's and the screen is literally a WM1A screen transferred into a DPM-Z1. It's literally, I'm pretty sure it's the same screen. It's the same size.
No,
They
no,
did
no, no,
not
no.
put a lot of thoughts on
I
the
think
UI.
I think it's a ZX300 screen, man.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I was expecting the screen to be a lot bigger than what it was.
Nope. Yeah, it was just like
For
a
how
tiny
big that
screen
thing
and a
is.
giant ass brick.
Yeah.
But I love it. I really do love the DAP. It's like it's giant.
The power adapter, they were just old Sony Vio's laptop adapters.
But that was the first time their DAP is on a USB-C. Anthony, you might think that your little DAP is USB-C. That breaker thing is USB-C. Did you know that? Uh-huh.
I don't really consider it DAP, but sure.
Well, I mean, it runs on battery. You know, so I guess it's that.
Well, so when when I tested it for the first time at a HeadFi meet, the guy who owned it said he takes it out on his deck and uses it as a DAP, so he carries it around his house with him and to play with it. I was like, wow, that's insane.
Some hardcore dedication there, man.
Yeah.
You just haven't bought the Van Nuts backpack for it. Takes
He
portability
had.
to a
I think he
level.
had it actually.
Oh, he has a backpack. Oh,
I
that's
think
nice.
he did. Yeah. I don't think.
That's lovely.
Yeah, he had a whole bunch of Van Noy stuff.
Oh, okay.
He was a
Yeah,
rich boomer.
yeah. Rich boomer. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Kind of like you. Wow, you're getting there, Anthony. The boomer part. And then they released TAZH1ES. Is, I think that the best way to put it is pretty much just the DMP-Z1 on a desktop setup, with a little bit more budget friendly. Also, every single connectivity that you can think of. I do like that all-in-one. I think, well, maybe not for the price, but like what is it, $2,000? It's a little bit expensive for what it is.
Newer, right?
What?
DMP-Z1 is newer, right?
Oh yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But we're talking about the best all-in-one now. Instead of the best app. Because that still have a very neutral sound signature, and it sounded very much like the WM1A. Again, like it sounded really much like the DAP that I had. And it just had every single connection to it, and it made it. That was the all-in-one that I always try when I was at earphones, because I had a Walkman at a time, and it's just so easy to plug in to my Walkman connector into that and play music out of that, and it played a lot of all the headphones at EE really well. So I really, that's when I really fall in love with the TAZH1ES. I don't, the name is just annoying to say. I think that's the only downside of that.
The boys call it Test.
Well, no, I call it TAZH1ES. You have to say the name.
Tez.
No, that's that. No, but like no, I like it. It's very expensive. It's $2,000. It's like 1.2 used. I always consider buying those, but then like right now there's a lot. I think there's a lot better options out there now. I feel like I don't know what I want to feel about that.
So Sony never targeted anything to be value. It's always a premium.
Yeah,
Like
I like how you say that, but we're about to get to the value section soon.
Yeah, so like in my opinion, from like 20 over years ago, like ever since I knew what was Sony, they will never dare to tell people we are value. Never.
Oh yeah. I mean their stuff are expensive. Don't get me wrong. Like when it just released, they were always. So when Sony released stuff, like there's always a trend. It always gets cheaper like a year after. But then like who why would you want a year-old Sony product, which is kind of boring. You want the new Sony product. That's what we're going to talk about. The new Sony product. Well, actually,
What new Sony product?
I don't know. Not new. Sony
IER. IER
Yeah.
line.
Nah, let's not talk about that. That's boring. Well, let's talk about the best IEM, the Sony Just Year. From the natural upgrade to the EX1000. I don't think any of you have heard it, huh? Oh, Anthony obviously haven't, because it's only in Japan. Yeah. So if you have the only thing I will say about the Just Year is that if you have the luxury to go to Japan, go to the Sony flagship store in Ginza, and if they like you enough, the store clerk like you enough, they will bust out their Sony Just Ear demos, and please do try them. They are very, they're probably the nicest $3,000 mid-fi that you will ever spend in your life. I'll say that. They do not sound particularly high res. They do sound very pleasant, and you won't always never get the $2,000 version because you don't get to meet the guy. So what you get from the Sony Just Ear experience is that you get to meet the designer of Sony Just Ear and the legendary EX1000. You get to talk to him for a few hours, and then he gets to tune your special Sony Just Ear. So the experience, you're paying $3,000 for the experience. The IEM is free with your purchase of the experience. So you're paying pretty much the money to meet the guy, and the IEM is probably just a side bonus. If you're ever interested, like if you're ever like the man behind Sony Hi-Fi, I think he's probably the most iconic guy. I think still the one that I think of. When you think about Sony IEMs.
Right.
The IEMs they sound fine. Nothing to write home about, but I think meeting the guy is definitely very special.
So is it a CIEM or is it just still universal?
Oh, it's CIM. No, it's CIM. You can't get it in demo. Like you can't get it in universal.
Except for the demo.
Right. I call it a meet and greet session with Masato-san, and you get the IEM at the end of the session.
Yeah, pretty much. And that you can actually get like the regular version, like their standard version of Sony Just Ear in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and in mainland China, and like somewhere in mainland China. But the only version that you can get only in Japan is the version that you go and meet the guy and he designs something. And almost nobody gets the regular version because those are like the pleb version, like $2,000, and like that IEM for $2,000. No, that was like really really bad. But like to meet the guy for an extra $1,000, yeah, that's definitely worth it. I think if you guys like make the trip to Japan, they also won't ship overseas, so you have to go back to Japan another time to pick it back up. So I was really heavily considering that, doing that when I first heard the IER, not the IER, but the Just Ear lineup. Great IEM. Well, mid-fi IEMs, but
So
probably.
So I'm looking it up. There's 3 versions: a monitor, listening, and club.
There's 4 versions. There's 7 versions now.
Oh, 7. Okay.
Yeah. So monitoring. What is it? Monitoring, club, and what else?
Listening.
That's the old listening. That's the old.
Yeah.
The old lineup. The new lineup, they designed it for the apps. WM1A, the ZX line, and the DMP-Z1. In the special version, with
and there's also the Sawano as well as I think Lisa.
But Lisa discontinued. So like now you can get, like right now there's 7 versions of Just Ear that you should get. I heard the 5 of the 6 when I was in Japan. I think I like the ZX line best out of all of them, I think. Which was funny enough, but I was listening to on WM1A, which is like the weird thing. But yeah, they were like really not too special. So yeah, but from what I heard, from the special tuning, they can really they kind of it's a very tunable IEM though. $3,000, somebody consider it. Oh, it's only $3,000. All you have to do is to plan a trip to Japan to get it. That's a throwback joke if you ever get that. But yeah, moving back to the current gen IEM. Probably the best lineup that they had. I think to date in terms of IEM. Anthony, you have just recently heard the best of the mid-fi. How did you like the king of mid-fi?
The M9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there's a lot of hype going into it from you guys and everyone else, but it was really good. I think it was. Go ahead.
Did it meet your expectation?
I think it meets my expectation. Yeah, I will say it's probably the most boring IEM I think I've ever heard.
But that's not to our script now.
But
can you read from the script, please?
I don't mean that in a negative connotation. I just mean it there's nothing like wrong with it. So there's nothing that there's nothing that like is overemphasized in any way. It's it's warm, not too warm, and it's a little bit laid back. It's really easy to listen to. It's very coherent, has really good mids, really good imaging and soundstage, and the resolution is really good. So there's nothing really to complain about besides that it's kind of boring, but that's good for long listening. So it's something I can easily wear for like a very, very long time and really enjoy the music.
Wouldn't you say that's the safest blind buy in the world?
I think it's I'd say so. Or the U12T again, but U12T is a little bit bass emphasized. So
as we previously established, I think most people here would take the M9 over the U12T, regardless of price.
Except
Let's just do that. Let's do that. Like except for you, I'm pretty sure that the other three, like that means me and you are just a trader, race trader. The other real Asians here would much rather take the M9 over the 12T, regardless of price. If 12T was $1,000, I still would take the M9 over it.
Taking price into consideration, definitely the M9. Yeah.
I don't care about the price. It doesn't really matter to me. I would still take the M9 over the 12T. It's a shit IEM. The 12T is. No, it's too warm. Like what? Like what about it is better than the 12? That's better than the M9.
Bass. I'm a bass header now. No. Remember?
Oh, I remember. You like floppy. You like
sub bass. I like sub bass.
Yeah, you like floppy BA sub bass. That's why you bought the U12. That's why you buy ULT. No, as I said, if you like bass, you might as well get a DD. Don't bug yourself with the M9.
Yeah, get the Neo. Yeah, and then the M9 also the whole packaging experience. It's not quite the Z1R, unboxing, but you get all the same like accessories and everything, which is a lot of really, really good high quality accessories and way too many tips than you can ever imagine. And the cables are great.
It comes with 2 cables. It's kind of nice.
Yep. Like really nothing to complain about at all.
Yeah. I think if you want to hear the more in-depth review on the M9, they can go read Anthony's show review. Actually, probably not one of his non-show reviews. On the M9, or you can go listen back to the podcast where we showed it in our IEM recommendation. But it was generally probably one of the best all-around IEMs. And the only reason I think that's keeping us from doing this podcast is because Anthony haven't tried the M9 yet. But now he has, so best podcast ever.
Now I gotta try the M7.
I think that's whatever. M7's whatever. I don't know. Anybody have anything to say about the M9? I don't know. Because I feel like we touched on the topic already, like before. It's not
about M9 the last time, so
yeah, too much M9 talk. Let's talk about my favorite talk. The Sony best IEM, IER-Z1R. I think most people confuse that. They just think I have the VX. I actually do have another IEM. I have 3, but the third one we don't talk about. That was a mistake. I think people tend to forget I probably have one of the first IER-Z1R in the country, in the US, because I bought it in China and I flew back here a month later. So Sony launched IER-Z1R at the same time with the rest of the IER line in China in the end of February last year, I want to say. Beginning of the year, like February last year. And I went to the launch event where I get to demo like Z1R, M9, M7, like DMP Z1, whatever, all that fun stuff. And then I bought it on the spot, and they shipped it to me 2 days later. I was one of the first guys in the province to get it, and I flew back to the States about like end of March. So I like to say like I'm probably like one of the first one to have it in the States because I bought it in China and flew back to the States. But yeah, I really like the IEM. I think I had a lot of time with it before it was even like, before the launch event, because we had it in the shop. It took me a while to decide to get the IEM just because how steep it is. It was, when it was launched, it was MSRP at $2,000. The dealer discount was at 1.8. So I paid about $1,800 to it when at launch. it was quite expensive because I think at launch you could have gotten it in Malaysia for like 1.7, but it wasn't, I didn't care, it was whatever. But I think it's still, again, I haven't tried the Odin or whatever, but I still think it's one of the best hybrid to this day. I think it's one of the most iconic, like they really refined the hybrid scene with the IER-Z1R. I don't know. Ken, you love the Z1R. Show the Z1R for me. Still the best hybrid today, right?
Treble extension and fabulous bass texture. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
But the only downside is that if you're not chosen by the Z1R, you cannot use the Z1R. By that I mean if you're a fucking earlet like Anthony,
well,
it does.
Fit aside, I guess the most problems, most people have problem with it is like, like the mid is recessed, they can't handle, or they do not like, like the mids being thinner. If they have a preference for thick mids, then yeah, that's not, it doesn't work well for them.
I mean, it's definitely not an IEM for male vocals, and I think Sony really figured out what their sound signature is, what their Asian audience. So I don't think it's a general sound signature for the North American rock and roll whatever songs that you play. But outside of male vocal, which is probably its biggest flaw, and it's honestly not that bad. I think it's pretty much all pretty well around IEM, and I almost never listen to male vocal unless I'm testing IEM. So there's that, which I really don't care about.
It's like shadow, so I don't have a problem.
Yeah. That's IEM, you should get it. We should actually also talk about it's not $2,000 anymore. So I think we talked about it like before again with the price decrease. When we just made that IEM a podcast, people should go back and listen to that. I don't know, the ranking thing. It's still one of our more popular videos. Go back and listen if you haven't. Like they just now the IER-Z1R is like 1.5. The M9 is like 1,000, and the M7 is like $500. So yeah.
Z1R $1,699.
Oh, $1,699, $1,700. Oh
yeah.
Wow, that's so expensive. But whatever. Yeah. It's still it's still a good bargain. Like you laugh, geez, like that's like half the price is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary to think about.
Yeah. I know, right?
You can get the Neo and the Z1R for less than the price of an Odin.
Well, that's just Empire Year things. They like to make mid-core IEMs for top tier prices.
You like the thing to pay for it, right? It's just as simple as that.
I don't know. Like, do you want to show IER-Z1R more? I don't think we do. It's kind of a boring episode because everybody likes everything. Nothing's very.
I don't like the Z1R.
So, right.
I don't like the
Z1R.
Z1R.
Positive. We gotta shit on something today.
Well, there's nothing to shit on. Honestly, that's the thing, right? It's when you have I think here's a hot topic for you guys. Well, not hot topic. I don't think any other IEM manufacturers can do what Sony does. What I mean by that is that they can make all their components in-house. The IER-Z1R and to extent the M9 and M7s are designed from ground up by Sony. All the drivers are proprietary Sony drivers, and so what they're both of their DD and Z1R are proprietary drivers made in-house that they don't sell to anybody else. The BA, the 5 BA, and the one special BA, which is probably just the tutor from M9, are designed by Sony as well. They're all made in-house. The housing, the magnesium on the M9 and the zirconium on the Z1R, they're like manufacturers for Sony, and no other IEM manufacturer aside from the FW10K are able to do that, and I think that's what makes it so good, because when you oh, Fostech.
Yeah,
it's it's really all the Japanese companies.
Yeah, all the Japanese brands, that I think it's partly because that's how they are so used to doing things. Like they're not like when you're big, like Fostech is giant, by the way. So for people don't know, Empire Years and all of tiny American puny companies that they don't have the money and resources to do that. Like it's pretty much like financially impossible. Only like the Japanese companies are able to do that, and it's their no bullshit, like no expenses spared. We're gonna make everything from by ourselves, except for the cable, by the way, because funny enough, Z1R has a Chi-Fi cable, made in China cable, but like the IEM, it's just built for just that specific purpose, and I think that's what makes the IER-Z1R so great, because they knew what they want to do from the beginning, and they design each individual components for that purpose instead of using already available off-the-shelf parts.
They didn't have to rush anything in their lineup, right? They don't
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh, we need to come out with a new IEM every year. No, they don't. They just like, oh well, we just created a flagship, so well, let's just keep on pouring millions to the next one until we get one that we like. Yeah.
And I like to ask Anthony, isn't that how manufacturing is? Like how isn't that how you have a breakthrough? Is everything from scratch, just like scrap everything and make everything yourself? Isn't that what you're kind of doing? Don't you respect that kind of manufacturing technique?
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
make
you,
everything
you
in-house?
you do need a company that has a lot of capital.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've
I think
I've
you know
worked
that
for
firsthand, right?
yeah, and I work for two companies that are like multi-billion-dollar companies, so it's really easy to put a lot of money into R&D. But yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, if you're a small company, that's a lot harder to do, and you're probably working with OEMs. Whereas
Well,
like if you're a big company, you can develop it in-house.
as I say, if you're poor like CFA having to buy DG drivers from China, of course your hybrids are not up to par as the great Sony conglomerate. But if you're Sony, if you want to try to design something that's groundbreaking, that's actually groundbreaking, not what you market it as groundbreaking, Solaris, uh, you should make your own drivers, like Sony, like at Fostech or like JVC, the Japanese companies, the Weeaboo companies. But no, like they make everything from ground up, and they have the resources to do it, they have the time to do it, and they have the manpower to do it. And I think by designing the IEM with a purpose, like going into it without using any parts, having all the parts designing specially for them, you really do make a special product. And I think that's one of the manufacturing, the way that they go into making that Z1R is probably one of the main reason why it still holds up really well, like 2 years after release, with all these new IEM coming out of the market that cost like twice as much. It really still stacks up against all the newer IEMs out there.
Right, like for the longest time, like they could have used off the shelf drivers or even special order, because they can order like a lot of stuff from the other companies, but no, they had to develop their own V8s.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't use special order drivers like what QEZ does with Knowles, it's still a variant of their existing lineup boards hard, and I think doing things from scratch is definitely the way to break through with the technology, and I can't wait to see what the new IER lineup is, or whatever. They'll probably use a different designation next time. But yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that I feel like the Z1R was the most recent exciting IEM, because it's the IEM that they designed from ground up, and I don't think we see a lot of those today, because it's all just you know companies asking, like the more, like you think about the marketing back, like like the most recent IEM marketing, it's mostly just company going into a manufacturer having them make them a special DD or something. It's never like, oh, we made this ourselves just for us. It's never like that. And for people who have appreciation to the manufacturing process, you should know that this is the Z1R is honestly something special. Even if you don't like the sound from a manufacturing standpoints, that I don't think any company can do it. I think that's why I like Z1R so much, and that's one of the reasons I love the FW10K so much. It's from the craftsmanship and engineering. If you don't like the sound, just appreciate the design, the Japanese design. I don't know.
JVC, Audio Tech makes their own DD.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. And yeah, and honestly, they're my favorite brands for a reason. I always tell people, if I was spend big bucks on the headphones, I would buy Audio Technica, ADX5000. Imagine if you spend $3,000 on a headphone and you found out that your headphones have a Chi-Fi driver in there. I mean, that is just embarrassing. I don't know which manufacturer is that, but I'm not gonna name names here. But if I'm gonna spend big bucks on anything, I sure hope that they put that money in R&D and not in marketing. Just saying. Okay. I don't know. I think that's pretty much the end. I don't know what else people want to talk about. I don't know. We can take some questions. I don't know.
There was a question about the SAZ1.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
man, I want to hear that.
Jeez, we just got the so I think Alan leaked the price. Well, not leaked, but $8,000, right?
It's per single one.
No, it's the pair. It's the pair.
Wait, it's double. Oh, right.
Yeah, they're connected. They're connected.
Wait,
They're selling just pairs.
that's affordable.
$8,000 for a pair of
Studio monitors.
Yeah,
really
wow.
crazy studio monitors.
They're
But it's a
not-
studio monitor.
But like on spec, they're not that great though. It's two DDs. That's two 5-inch DD. That's like what push pull design, right? Well, they're tsunami design.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
But,
and then it has like triple tweeters. So like one for one, like two smaller one on the side and one in the middle. It's a pretty fun design. It's like two-way crossover with 5 drivers on a.
Let me see if I can get a picture of this.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's built from like 3-piece aluminum, so the whole entire chassis is just pretty much like 3-4 pieces of aluminum. It's pretty crazy. In terms of value, yeah, none on the value, but I'm sure it sounds great. Knowing Sony, again, I think everything. I think again they made everything in house once again for the SAZ1, which is crazy amount of engineering going into that. Yeah. I will. Honestly, I think that would be one thing that I would love to travel to LA for if TSAV. Shout out to TSAV. If they ever get that in house, I would definitely love to go hear that. Play my weirdo music, of course.
Do you think like Guitar Center would carry it in their store?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, like, it's crazy. Also, that if you like Sony and you're in the States, you're out of luck because they don't care about you in the United States. So yeah.
Unless it's a TV.
Unless it's what? Unless it's TVs, I guess. But like, yeah. I think is TSAV one of the few distributors for Sony?
There's a lot. I mean, there's like,
But none of them have any stock.
Yeah, B&H and Adorama and a lot of the bigger camera stores.
But they're not sponsored by. They don't sponsor the show. But if you want a Sony product, please go hit up Alan from TSAV. I'm a friend of the Discord, friend of the show, even though he never comes to watch the show. Go hit him up and ask him when he's gonna get Z1Rs, and he will say probably never, because
6 to 9 months.
He get 6. It's like a 6 to 9 months wait, and every time he gets like about 2 or 3, and they're mostly snatched up by people that already are like wanting one. And yeah, if you want a Z1R, go be on Alan's wait list, and trying to support Weeaboo, so he's gonna spend that commission money on more Weeaboo stuff.
I think they finally got the 507 DAP in, and it was released a year ago.
And didn't he bought the one that they got in?
I think so. It just came in, finally.
Yeah. It's that they still haven't gotten like M9 or M7 in. So yeah, if you want those, yeah, you're out of luck. Like if you might as well get one from China or something. I don't know. It's hard to get one in the States. I remember Bruce from C Audio. He waited like 6 months for his Z1R. It was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, any more questions? If not, we're done. I think it's really not too much to talk about in this podcast because I think there's very little bad things to say about it. I think that's why we don't.
Yeah, there's some questions about how come you're being so positive this episode.
Because we're paid by Sony. Because Sony cuts me a check. just Audio Discourse is sponsored by Sony and QDC, and most recently because I heard they're giving away a free mess to reviewers now. So I don't know. Do you want to give a shout out to because you're in their pocket now, Anthony?
Sure. Here's a Sony question for you guys. Are you guys getting the PlayStation 5?
No.
Oh.
And we all know where Sony get most of their money from PlayStation 5s. So if you are getting a PlayStation 5, thank you for funding the Sony R&D department, because that's making them the most money by far, actually, the consoles. But yeah.
It's probably their TVs.
You sure? I'm pretty sure it's their consoles. At least in China.
The TVs, no, but they make the most money from the PlayStation. But
yeah, because the licensing and with the games developers, it's a lot. Like, you know, it's their easily the most profitable item, like a single item. Yeah, use the discount code Rush10 off, 15 off. Oh, it's 15 off now. Wow. At TSAV for your Sony products. That's not a working code for. But if you are going to buy a Z1R and tell them that Rush sent you, with your 6 to 8 months wait from TSOE, I'm sure Alan will give you a nice discount.
Now you're putting him on the spot.
I don't get paid for this. I'll tell you that right now. I like Z1R because I like it. There's no other reason, and I didn't blind buy it, so I demoed it for way too long before I decided to buy it.
I like Z1R because I like it.
I mean, like, what's there? Because I'm a weeaboo, actually, and that's why I like Z1R, because it fits my weeaboo lifestyle. I just enjoy the Sony brand, living that Sony life, man. Stay tuned for my if Sony you're listening, please send me a pair of SA-Z1. I would very much love to show those.
And a DMP Z1 too.
I can do without that.
But you gotta make this you have to recreate this picture.
Oh, that would be nice, yeah. And I need a table too then.
There's another photo. There's another photo where it has a WM1A connected to the DMP Z1 and then connected to the SA-Z1.
Yeah, because they're passive monitors, so the amps on the thing doesn't really matter too much. I think they have a TA-ZH1ES built into that amp, like a more aggressive amping. So I think there is an amp and a DAC inside the SA-Z1. So mostly what you're sending into those speakers are just signals. So yeah, pretty nice monitors.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. End of the podcast. No more Sony shelling. Tune in to our next episode.
What is our next episode?
What is our next episode?
Yeah.
We are doing a roundtable on. You already got a clairvoyance, right?
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Hopefully I'll get it to you. Hopefully I'll get it to you by next week.
But we're doing the show next week. You can't get it to me by next week.
I'll do overnight shipping to you.
Yeah, but like I have to get it a week. Yeah, you have to send it to me like right now.
I will try on Monday. That requires me to write 3 reviews this weekend, but I will try to do that.
Wait, when did you get the clairvoyance?
About a week ago.
Yeah, you had a week for it. Send it out, you fucker. Stop pouring IEMs, all right? So next week, Anthony will send. We will do a roundtable, and I hope my Singaporean co-host will go refresh their memory. So a little bit teaser. Next week we'll do a roundtable on the clairvoyance and Monarch, and the next week, I promise JP to give him the special treatment that I give with Kryn when I will do a one-on-one with John Park, the designer, the tuner, the collaborator with the audio of the Monarch and Clairvoyance. I talked to him about his babies, about how bad his babies are. So yeah, some probably spicier episodes than this week. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Definitely something less popular but more fun to talk about for us. Thanks for watching. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.